So 6.5 is all about John Adams. He's our second president. There isn't a lot of information we need to talk about with John Adams, so this will probably be a shorter video than the previous ones have been. When it comes to the election of 1796, Washington decides that 2 terms is enough for him. He doesn't want to do any more. And so this is going to set up a precedent that someone who is the leader of the country, the president, doesn't have more than 2 terms. There will be other individuals who will run for a 3rd term, but they won't be elected because Washington didn't do a 3rd term. In 1796, in September, his farewell address, he criticized the political partisanship that had been formed between the 2 political parties that isn't going to sway those in the United States at all. The election comes down to John Adams running as a Federalist. He will be the winner. Thomas Jefferson obviously runs as a Republican, and he becomes vice president because he comes in second. Aaron Burr also ran. This will cause some tension between Aaron Burr and Thomas Jefferson because Aaron Burr decided to run for president as well. John Adams is considered to be vain, prickly, opinionated, stubborn. He is known to be competitive. He has a volcanic temper, but he is honest and he is highly intelligent. They feared democracy and despised class equality. He did not want those at the bottom having the same abilities and rights of those at the top. He called the people the common herd, that they were sheep that needed to be led around and not to have actual ability to say anything for themselves. The XYZ affair is one of the major incidents that will happen during his presidency. In March of 1798 to 1800, 3 French agents who publicly were known as X, Y, and Z, their names were not published in any newspaper or journal anywhere. They demanded items in exchange for negotiating treaties between France and that of the United States. The concessions demanded by the French included 50,000 pounds sterling, silver sterling, $12 million loan from the United States, which we didn't have the money to do, a $250,000 personal bribe for the French foreign minister, a formal apology for comments made by John Adams. As the president, they wanted him to apologize to the French. Congress obviously did not give them anything. Congress tells them they won't get a single cent, and they don't. And this kind of leads to a thing called the quasi-war. It's not an official war. Both sides are capturing ships for themselves. Impressment is going on. And they're going to call for a buildup of the American Navy against that of the French. We're going to add 6 fast, powerful frigates, such as the USS Constitution. And to pay for it all, Congress, of course, raises taxes. In the Convention of 1800, they're going to send William Van Murray to France. Napoleon was ready for friendly relations, and so it's really easy. France decides the Treaty of Alliance has been fulfilled, and remember, the Treaty of Alliance said that the United States would not form any other military agreements until after the American independence is won. After the quasi-war settles down, we have the formation of what is known as the Alien and Sedition Acts. And this is really going to cause some problems. Federalists in Congress who want to maintain control of Congress, they're going to pass these acts to suppress freedoms in the Bill of Rights. It gave the president power to violate civil rights. Jeffersonians in Congress were threatened with arrest. If you spoke out against the Federalists in any way, you could be jailed or put in prison. Printers and journalists were beaten in public if they say even a disparaging word about the president or a Federalist individual. The Naturalization Act changed the time period to become a citizen from 5 years now to 14 years. A lot of naturalized citizens tended to vote for the Democrat Republicans, and they did not want those individuals to unseat the Federalists in power. The Alien Friends Act gave the president to deport or jail anyone he called dangerous aliens. Anyone who was considered to be dangerous to the Federalist Party could be deported to a different country. Siberia became a popular location to send individuals. The Alien Enemies Act gave the president could expel or imprison aliens from enemy nations. So if you were an immigrant at that time, where the Alien Friends Act said if you were an American citizen and you were harmful to the American government, they could get rid of you. Well, the Alien Enemies Act said if you were an immigrant and you're from a different country, then what they could do is they could imprison you or send you out of the country. The Sedition Act, however, will be the one act that truly everyone has an issue with. It made it a crime to publish false, scandalous, and malicious writing against the government or its officials. Can you imagine what that would happen today with what is going on with all the news stations? But if you wrote anything that was considered to be malicious, if you said that John Adams' hair was awful, you could be jailed. Punishment included 2 to 5 years in prison and up to $5,000. $5,000 at that time is a lot of money. Everyone who were punished under the act were Republicans. Not a single Federalist was ever punished or fined under the Sedition Act. It created an atmosphere where opposing the Federalist Party resulted in prosecution. There were those who fought back, and that it comes through the Virginia and Kentucky resolutions. It's passed in late 1798 in the states of Kentucky and Virginia. They were written secretly, anonymously published in their respective states. We know now that they were written by Thomas Jefferson and James Madison. But the Kentucky and Virginia state governments said they would not enforce the Alien and Sedition Acts and argued that the acts were unconstitutional. And it goes back to what the Virginia Declaration of Rights said, that a state has the right to push back against inadequate government. And they believed at this time that the federal government was doing egregious things to the American people. So they're going to push back. Eventually, more states will join them, and the Alien and Sedition Acts will never be fully effective in keeping people from saying anything about the Federalist Party. It also led to the downfall of the Federalist Party as well. So the next thing you're going to do is take your quiz over Section 6. And don't forget you have your Constitution test and that of the 6.2 regular test. And then we're going to move on to Section 7.